Welcome once again to the Sonya Dungee podcast. I want to welcome everyone back for another episode, just making sure everything is everything and it seems to be working well. So, I want to thank you all for waiting for me while we push through the technicalities, but it's all good. So, once again, welcome back to the Sonya Dungee podcast, where conversation is always the essence of the soul. I am your host, Sonya Dungee, and yes, still bringing the heat to the IG, Facebook, YouTube, and now TikTok streets. So, this episode number 238, is being brought to you by Always Destined for Greatness, Be Lips, and Drip City Customs, LLC. But before we begin tonight, please post in the comments the geographical area in which you are tuning in from so we can give you a shout out. And I want you all to know how much you're appreciated. I see you, I hear you, and I feel you, and am so grateful for all of you. So I am checking really quick to see who has joined us from where. And I know some of our platforms at times can back up and be a little bit slower, but I will make sure that you don't go unnoticed. I see Harlem has entered. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. And let's see really quickly, because we got a lot to talk about tonight and I want to be respectful of your time. Let's see. All right, here we go. So I want you to know that tonight's episode, it's deeply personal to me. Because tonight, I'm not just speaking from knowledge. I'm speaking from experience. You see, I know what it feels like to smile on the outside while silently carrying pain on the inside. I know what it's like to wake up every day trying just to function. This. Oops, let me just put this in so that we don't lose anybody. I apologize. I should have done that first, but did not. I'm not one to consider a loved one's passing as a loss, in the sense that, no disrespect, but in my mind, they're always going to be in my mind, my heart, my soul, my spirit. And so they're never going to be lost. But to each his own, everybody feels differently, and that's fine. But after losing my dad, as I said, in the physical, after carrying the weight of grief day in and day out, I had to come face to face with something that was hard. And it wasn't just the grief, but it was the reality that grief had started making me feel stuck. And maybe some of you understand exactly what I mean, because sometimes it's so hard that you emotionally pause. And sometimes you don't even realize that you've paused. But you keep going physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, you stop moving. So tonight, I'm going to share with you 4 points to assist you in your shift. And along with those 4 points, I will give you some really true thought provoking questions. And hold on 1 minute. Can you turn that down, please? Go ahead. Thank you. And of course, we have Namari in studio once again, and that's fine. We're family, and he always has to be somewhere in the midst. So you might hear him a little bit here and there, but it's all good. All right. So, as I said, along with the 4 points, I am going to give you some really true thought provoking questions. And you might wish to write them down and revisit them later. So, I'll give you a second or two to grab yourself some pens and some paper while I mosey on back over here and see what's going on. Relatable experience. Thank you so much. And during the course of the evening, if you are receiving value, and move over here so I get to be seen better. If you're receiving value, trying to get into the camera better. Okay. I think this is it. So if you're receiving value, or if you had a breakthrough or an aha moment, please, please, please let me know in the comments, because it's always important for me to know that. And I have to apologize a little bit because we've been doing some construction in, once again, in the studio. I thought we were going to move elsewhere to a different studio, but as luck has it, we will not be. So we're kind of transitioning at the moment. So excuses, but not excuses at the same time. So now that you've had an opportunity to grab your various pens and some paper, hopefully a notebook where you'll have it for a while. The first point that I want to address with you is you cannot move forward without honesty. One thing that grief has truly taught me is you can pretend to be okay for only so long. And as you know, I'm a firm believer, and I say it all the time. It's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay not okay. Okay. And that 1 second, because hey, what podcast is going to matter. I'm on Facebook and on Instagram. I'm being okay. All right. Okay. I'm sorry. It's one of my viewers. If she doesn't see me, she's coming for me. So I appreciate that. No worries with that. So anyway, as I said, it's not okay to stay not okay. All right. So you can keep showing up for people. You can keep smiling. You can keep, but eventually the pain you avoid confronting begins showing up in everything. And I'm speaking firsthand. I'm speaking because all of that, what I'm talking about, is what I did. Okay. So I had to ask myself, Sonya, are you healing or are you surviving? That question helped change me, because there's a difference. Survival keeps you functioning. Healing helps you to move. So I want to ask you this. What pain have you normalized? What are you carrying that you still haven't truly processed? Have you been healing or just surviving, as I once did? And how long have you been telling yourself you're okay when deep down in the pit of your stomach, you know you're not? So we're going to sit on that for a moment. Welcome, DC. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you as always. The mouse. Okay. Just jump over to our other platforms very quickly while you're thinking about that question, and then we are going to move forward. Welcome, Miami. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you as always. Okay, so honesty is where movement begins. So the second point that I want to address is your comfort zone. Your comfort zone may very well be your cage. You see, after grief, I noticed something. I became comfortable with isolation, comfortable staying to myself, comfortable disconnecting, comfortable sitting in sadness because it became familiar. And when I tell you, familiar doesn't always mean healthy. Sometimes we stay in the emotional places because we learn how to survive there. But surviving is not the same as living. And one day I had to, I want to ask you something honest. And that is, have you gotten comfortable in your pain? Have you convinced yourself that staying stuck is safer than moving forward? Are you calling it peace when it's really fear? What part of your life has you stopped participating in emotionally? And you see, growth requires movement. And movement, you see, that requires courage. Thirdly, grief changes you, but it doesn't have to define you. It doesn't have to define you. One thing that I truly also learned from grief is that you do not come out. You don't come out of grief as that same person you were before. Loss changes you. It does. Pain changes you. That does. Disappointment definitely changes you. But the question becomes, will it shape you or will it stop you? Because for a while, I felt disconnected from my own self, my own being. I was disconnected from joy. I was disconnected from clarity. I was disconnected from the version of me I knew was still inside somewhere. And I realized I could either allow grief to become my identity or allow it to become part of my testimony. So I want to ask you these questions. Who have you become after everything you've been through? Have you allowed pain to convince you that your best days are behind you? And let me tell you, let me answer that question for you. You have better days ahead of you. You have better days ahead of you. Are you holding on to a version of yourself that no longer exists? And what would happen if you gave yourself permission to become someone new? Because you see, healing is not becoming who you used to be. It's learning who you are now. Bobby, can you turn that down a little bit? It got louder. Just a little bit, please. Thank you. And then brings us to our fourth point. Movement starts with a decision. You see, I had to make a decision. Not to get over grief, not to ignore pain, but to stop allowing my to keep me emotionally frozen. And movement doesn't always look loud. Sometimes movement is getting up again, reconnecting again, dreaming again, achieving your goals again, believing in yourself again, living again. And maybe, just maybe tonight, your first step is just simply deciding that you want more for yourself. So ask yourself, what have I been postponing because of fear or pain? What part of me is ready to live again? What if my next chapter is waiting on my willingness to move? And what would my life look like if I finally stopped sitting in the same place emotionally? And so I'm going to share my story with those who have never heard it or are joining for the first time. You see, my story began during the height of the pandemic on January 23rd of 2021 at the Veterans Administration Hospital in Northport, New York. I'll never forget that as long as I live. 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to be exact. As I reluctantly was there, because I knew the inevitable. I knew it was going to happen. Because you see, not even 48 hours before, I had this medical personnel sit my father and I down in this small, closed, claustrophobic room and bluntly told my dad and me that he had 6 months to live. And believe me when I tell you that was out of left field. Didn't see it coming at all. And not even 48 hours later, not even a whole 48 hours, because that was Thursday, late evening. Saturday, I was called to go to the hospital to say my goodbyes to my dad because he wasn't going to make it. And I did that also reluctantly. And I left. And I was called back again to the hospital because they were giving my dad this procedure, and they were giving him some type of medication and hoping for the best. And this is the first time I'm even mentioning this, but hoping for the best. But I was called back again because whatever they were going to try wasn't going to work. And so now I am outside, to be exact, to start. I'm outside in the frigid, below freezing degrees with other family members and friends who were able to rush to the VA hospital. Because at the time, because it was the height of the pandemic, they were only allowing 2 inside. And so my daughter volunteered Zoom so my family members that were abroad and other states could say their last goodbyes to my dad, and my son wanted to be there. So it was the two of them. But it was an angel of a nurse who told my daughter, go get your mother. I don't care what the doctors say. And I went inside. But at that point, I already knew what was going to happen. And it did, as I held my dad's hand and I stared at him. I witnessed that tear come down his cheek, and it was in that moment that he took his last breath on this earth, and he took his first breath in heaven. And I immediately became isolated, distant, lost a lot of weight, didn't come out the house, didn't realize I even lost that weight because I knew if I tried, I wouldn't have. I only left the house to go to Calverton National Cemetery because I knew my dad's remains were behind the Calabarium wall, and I would feel a sense of closeness by being there. And I worked from home. So there it was. I was just surviving, doing the bare minimum. And that went on. 342 days, I was stuck in grief, stuck in isolation, denial. You name it, I was it. And it wasn't until enough became enough and I made that conscious decision, like I've been talking about tonight, that enough was enough and I couldn't continue on that path any longer. It wasn't conducive to my mental stability, to my physical and my social well-being. So I made a commitment. I invested in myself. I hired a mentor coach, and a Be Iconic, amazing community came alongside of me. I put in the work. I didn't miss a class because I wanted it more than anything else, because I knew God had a purpose for me, because my life could have been taken 4 times over. And that is the reason why I sit before you today as a podcast host and also a transformation coach. I get to women that are stuck in grief, broken, but ready to move forward. They just don't have the direction, the know-how. I help them maintain an attitude of expectation and of excellence and achieving economic independence so that they too can walk in their God-given purpose. So thank you for allowing me to share my story, and we're going to move forward. So after you ask these questions, puppy, I suggest that you go back and you, if you wrote them down, revisit them again. And we're going to transition into what I have created, and that is the Boss Warrior Queen Masterclass. 5 crucial steps to go from stuck to unstoppable. Because I know I'm not the only person who had to fight their way out of emotional stagnation. I know I'm not the only person who has had moments of feeling stuck after loss, disappointment, setbacks, or life transitions. And this masterclass, it's not about pretending life hasn't happened. It's about learning how to move anyway. So if tonight's episode has touched you, if somewhere during this conversation you saw yourself, then I want you to be in that room. I want you to be in that room. We're going to go deeper. We're going to confront patterns. We're going to identify what's out of alignment. And we're taking real steps towards movement. You see, I spent countless hours on this masterclass. It's important. it's important for me to provide a safe place, a non-judgmental place, off of social platforms into a more intimate setting on a Zoom with others that are also finding themselves in the same situation but are ready to move forward. Ready to move from stuck to unstoppable, ready to thrive, ready to achieve goals and dreams. And all it takes is your commitment. And how do you do that, you ask? Just by registering. And don't hesitate. Just ask yourself, why not? It's free. DM me or comment, why not? And I'll send you the registration link. And I look forward to seeing you on the inside. And remember this: grief may have changed you, pain may have slowed you down, life may have forced you to pause, but throughout it all, it's not the end of you. Maybe it's the beginning of who you're becoming. I love you all. I'm going to jump to the comments really quick. Thank you so much for taking the time to comment. I see that you found that out, that value is being received, that disconnection is most definitely something you have to become aware of, or it will define you. Yes. Deciding to move is very important. It actually is how I started coming out of it. Amen. I'm very proud of you. And thank you for sharing. You're finding value again. I hear you. You'll be there. Yeah, thank you. I thank you, beautiful. You have a huge part of my overcoming my grief after I lost my son, Jeremy. If it wasn't for you and the Be Iconic community, I would have never made it. God bless you. God bless you. So with that being said, again, I love you. And until next time, I want to thank you and don't want to be disrespectful because I am. I'm not going back to the other platforms. I'm sorry. Okay, I see we have new viewers. Thank you so much for joining. So again, I expect to see y'all in this masterclass. I really do. It's free and it's worthwhile. And I am going to give you solid information and tools so that you can take and utilize right away. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for joining. Until next time, stay safe, stay well. God bless you all, and bye for now. Okay, wait a second.